Hi and welcome everyone to our 23rd episode of The Little Inside. As usual, and surprisingly, I'm still Tobi. And this week, we're going to have a look at the dimension of time. So, let's get started right after the intro. One thing that's on most people's minds most of the time is time. And everything that we think about most of the time is related to and only makes sense in the realm of time. So for example, we are thinking about our future. What is going to happen with me? We might think about our past and the things that did happen to me. Very, very rarely we're actually rested in this present moment that we can call life. Most of the time we are preparing for life, we are trying to live a life, we are struggling with life, trying to get somewhere, trying to become someone. All that is kind of based on the idea of time. And also most people at our retreats here in Phuket, or in the meditation classes that we have going on here as well, they're very fascinated with this time all the time. And so they would ask questions like, yeah, but what about motivation? What about having goals? What about feeling emotional about something and wanting to change the world? Well, all these kind of things are time-bound, aren't they? So this week I would like to discuss the subject of time a little bit, because it's such an important subject. And very often you find people either totally lost in time, totally identified with time, or you find people more on the spiritual side who are kind of denying time. There is no time, everything is timeless, I'm in timeless and boundless space, and then all that kind of stuff. So either they get attached completely to the concept of time, or they get attached to the concept of no time. Both is incorrect. So we have to acknowledge that something such as time obviously exists, right? So you can say that I had a past, I came from Germany, and now I'm living in Phuket, and I plan to stay here for a while, and so forth. There's this kind of conversational time. Well, let's meet tomorrow at 9 a.m. Are you free for breakfast, and so forth. That is all perfectly normal. I need to catch my plane. I need to catch my plane next week on Monday at 7 p.m. You need time for these kind of things. Imagine if there was no time, then how could we ever organize anything? How could we actually have a vision in life and a mission, how to accomplish our vision? It would not work out if we didn't know what time actually is, or if we wouldn't experience such a thing as time. But it's not as simple as that. So we cannot just say that, well, that kind of time that you had a past, and in your past you did this and that, and in your future you will do this. That this time kind of exists, you can say it exists relatively. Exists on a relative level. So that's the reason why time is experienced differently for all of us. That's also the reason why we all have a different kind of past, because we're not all having just kind of the same type of past. I very often think, what if a time machine was actually existing? Then whose past would we go back into? Because we all have a completely different experience of past. So in that way we can say the past as such, or the future as such, are not things that are existing somewhere in this material world. Like you can go to a location and then there will be your future, and then you're entering your future. When would you enter your future? You could only do so ever now, right? The same thing is true for your past. Let's say you would go back to your past, you would still only ever be really present while you're going back into your past. You would be here and now with each and every step as you're going back into your past, so to say. So the past and the future are not any location that can be found outside of your thinking mind. So what is it that is actually causing future and past to arise? Well, I would say that the major cause of time is craving. It is a mind which is engaged in a pushing or pulling movement. So it's a mind that wants to get rid of something, or that wants to maintain or accomplish something. And as such a mind gives rise to the experience of time as a subjective experience. And that is perfectly okay. We have a time that we all agree upon. I'm looking at my watch. It's 2 p.m. right now. And then you're looking at your watch, it's also 2 p.m. And then we say at 3 p.m. we are going to do this or that. Fine, that all works. This kind of time, I would call it practical time. We can just make use of it during everyday life. Is there something wrong with practical time? Of course not. Why would there be anything wrong with practical time? What about something else? That type of time which serves as nutrition for the sufferer, for the one who experiences pain and who needs to keep his or her pain alive. Like, for example, worrying about my future. Will I make it? Will they accept me? What will happen to my Facebook post? What if I get bad negative comments? What happens if I will have an accident and my insurance doesn't pay for it, and so forth. This kind of perception of time is more kind of based on the idea that I would say it comes from fear more than it comes from actual truth, where you're making use of practical time to organize your life in a way that is free of suffering. But it is more an actual expression of suffering itself. That kind of time, that is the sort of time that we don't need. That is adding unnecessary load and burden onto ourselves that we then have to carry around day in and day out. Some people are suffering from what they went through years ago. Why did she divorce me? I just don't understand. How could you do such a thing? So in a way, we are energetically, emotionally stuck with our being, and in a way also doomed to repeat this experience. It's almost like a little tiny private hell in which you're going through the same suffering and again and again and again. For some people there is no awareness, then they just keep going through that until they die. Day in and day out, worrying about their failures in the past, their broken relationships. They're paralyzed by this kind of suffering time. So time is a necessary phenomenon, and all the things that come with time, like planning, having goals, wanting to lead a fulfilling and good, happy life that is beneficial for yourself and others, that requires timing, it requires planning, and all that, of course. Being motivated, having goals, and of course that's also necessary to lead a good life. I don't say, well, time doesn't exist, just throw away all your plans and your motivations, throw everything away and just be here and now. It would not work. It would also, again, paralyze you. You become attached to the idea of the here and now as an intellectual idea. Those who are truly present, they can operate in the level, in the dimension of time, while not losing their timeless experience of this present moment. So that's the idea. You want to come, you have something inside of yourself, you can say, that is timeless, that is not bound up with time. It is not subject to change. It is not subject to ups and downs and so forth. You can call that the dimension of awareness or the dimension of consciousness. And then you have the dimension of time, and that's for the practical stuff, right? That's for your appointments, when you need to book your plane tickets, and for all the things that we need to lead a well-functioning life. So I hope that this kind of short insight into time, the dimension of time, clarifies for most people that I'm not saying that you should throw away time into the garbage bin and just only be here and now all the time, but actually use time while at the same time recognizing that within you that is not bound up with time, that is timeless. And if you haven't found that, then you want to use your time well to make it a priority to find it, because it's worth it. It is a place inside of yourself that is not tied up with suffering, that doesn't suffer life, you can say, that doesn't suffer experiences, that is unbound, free, not imprisoned by time. So I hope that this helped clarify this subject a little bit more, and it was useful for you. I always get these kind of questions, so I thought making a little video about it might help. So I would encourage you, if you have any questions or something like that, just let me know down there in the comment section, or write me an email. And well, I hope to see you again next week on Wednesday as usual, same time. See, it works out every week. And well, have a good, wonderful week. Enjoy yourself practicing timelessness within a time dimension. Bye-bye.